Liverpool have had a £37 million bid for Lavia turned down. That's come from David Ornstein. But they look like they're going full steam ahead with this deal. Fabinho hasn't left yet. There's some problems with that deal. It might actually fall through. But they're going for Lavia, talented player, but a very young midfield next year for Liverpool, it looks like being.
It's a youth project. They're going to be in phase one. Obviously, no, Rome wasn't built in a day. Now, look at what he's done for the club. The fans are on side. You know, the vibes are good. Everything's good, tell. Like, all jokes aside, yeah, they've actually done some good business so far. McAllister's decent. I like McAllister. Szoboszlai, like, depends how he fits in, but from what we've seen previously, he looks like a half decent player as well. And if they get Lavia, yeah, it's gonna drop the average age, that's for sure. And listen, is he better than Fabinho? Probably not. Is he more mobile than Fabinho? 100%. But it's going to be interesting to see where they go this season, because last season they were so hit and miss, weren't they? Like 1 week they'd slap Man United 7, and then the next week they'd go and lose to some random team. Like
they literally the week after they lost to Bournemouth 1-0. That literally happened. Yeah, they were.
Salah missed a penalty, didn't he? I think he put.
They were very average last year by their standards.
They need consistency, but do you know what? They needed a midfield overhaul last summer, and I was surprised they didn't even go and buy anyone. But they've got rid of a lot of their midfielders, and listen, their attack's taken care of. Yeah, they've got Salah, they got Nunez, they got Diaz, Jota, Gakpo. They don't need no attacking players. Yeah, but they've now sorted that or trying to sort that midfield out. The defense, if Van Dijk can find maybe even 25% of the form that he used to have, then, because last season he was shocking. Yeah, absolutely fell off a cliff last season, but obviously injury caught up with him or whatever, I don't know. But they've got Konate there. The goalkeeper's quality, as we know. Trent, I don't know whether he's going to be playing right back or inverted, hybrid, whatever these hipsters want to call it. I don't know. But,
yeah,
but they've got the basis and a core. The attack's sweet. You know they're going to bag goals. It's just now the midfield. Yeah, and if they can sort their midfield out, which it looks like they're doing, they will be a problem next season. It's just how quickly they can adapt to playing with each other. And if they adapt pretty quickly, then they're going to be a bit of a problem for a few teams.
Yeah, for me, when I think they'll get this Lavia deal. When the interesting thing about this Lavia deal is that, according to Fabrizio, Arsenal and Chelsea are still going to come in for him. So I'm quite intrigued to see what happens if Arsenal and Chelsea come in, because Ornstein's saying personal terms are no problem. I don't think personal terms for any one of those three clubs are a problem. It's which one of the three clubs he wants to join the most. Liverpool, most Liverpool fans, we have Sam, of course, does Straight Facts with us on a Friday. He believes that Liverpool are still far more attractive than Chelsea and Arsenal. One poor season for them doesn't make Arsenal a better proposition. I think if Fabinho's leaving as well, they can offer him absolute first-team football. When you look at Chelsea and Arsenal, if he goes there, he will be backup to Partey and Rice, Caicedo and Enzo. Where at Liverpool, if Fabinho does leave, this man is going to have to be the linchpin midfielder. So I think Liverpool will get him. When I look at the three clubs in for him, I know Arsenal are in a really good position at the minute. They're improving. They've got a very talented young squad. Everyone's excited about your rebuild ending. It's over now, as far as I'm concerned. Chelsea, a different space. But I just think Jurgen Klopp and Liverpool are still massive. They did have a bad year. I don't think the premise? The prestige of playing for Liverpool doesn't disappear because of coming fifth. At the end of the day, and if they're saying, look, we want you to be the main DM in our team, no one else in for him can offer him that. So I do think Liverpool will get it done. I do think he's talented. However, there is a however in here. It's good enough. The team will be good enough to make top four next year. Not guaranteed, but good enough to do it. But Liverpool, with the signings they've made thus far, will not be able to win the Premier League. They haven't. The midfield is young and inexperienced, and they haven't played together. So you've got to find chemistry. Secondly, they haven't improved their backline yet, and they conceded far too many chances last year, and so many of them came from Trent mistakes, Konate mistakes, Van Dijk. All of them making these mistakes. So you look at it, and I know they improved when they did the inverted fullback into the midfield, but that was when there was no pressure. So I do think Liverpool will be better. They're in the top four race with these signings, but they will not they will not win the Premier League, which is what their standards are. So I just think they need a bit more.
Well, sorry to cut you off. You said that's what their standards are. They've won it once in 30 odd years. Well, it's not really the standards, is it? The standards are to compete for it.
Maybe. Well, yeah, but I don't think they will. I don't think they will compete for the title without improving the back line. I just think the midfield needs a listen. In 2 years' time, before Liverpool fans get angry, that midfield could be absolutely one of the best in the world. Lavia, 2 or 3 years experience. McAllister learning what it's like to play for a high-pressure club team. Slobosly, we haven't seen. Some players come from the Bundesliga and they're amazing. Some have come here and been you've had Michael Ballack and you've had Kai Havertz. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it can go either way. You've got Haaland and you've got Timo Werner. Do you know what I'm saying? So there's all these examples. I think that midfield will work though, but it won't be a good enough midfield. Arsenal's midfield, Man United's potential new midfield, City's midfield, all better than theirs next year. And midfield is where so much of the winning of titles is done. It protects that back line and it feeds that front line. And I just don't think it will be good enough to win the league, but definitely good enough to put them back in the top 4 next year. And I rate all of their signings, and they're doing good business. But then who knows what they're going to add? They bring in another player or two that gives them a bit more stardust, and maybe my mind will change. But I think it's very good business. Go on, mate.
I don't think they need any attacking players. They've got way enough attacking players. Yeah, Gakpo, it's going to be his first full season as well. Diaz is back from injury. Nunez had the first season to bed in. Listen, he weren't great. Yeah, and this is what I said to you last week. When a player scores loads of goals in another league, just halve it. Yeah, and we see that last season. He was missing so many big chances. But some of the goals he did score, it was like, whoa, okay, that was a sick finish. Yeah, so depends, man. Like, Salah's going to guarantee you 20 goals a season minimum, even when he's maybe not at the heights he was a couple of years ago. He's still going to bag 20 odd goals. Yeah, but the one thing I will say, they got Europa League, and it's how they do the Europa League. Like Liverpool in Europe, they've got that pedigree, but that's more so in the Champions League. And I know they've got to European finals in the Europa League, blah, blah, blah. But it depends how much they take that seriously. Because if you actually look at their squad, yeah, we've also missed out. What's his name? Joe Gomez. Is it Joe Gomez, the midfielder? Not Joe. That's the centre back, isn't it? What's the midfielder's name? The other one. No, the one that was bagging goals towards the end of the season. Is it Joe Gomez?
Curtis Jones.
Curtis Jones. Yeah. He started scoring goals towards the end as well. So listen, they have got options in midfield, but if you actually look at their squad, like I agree with you. I don't think it's good enough to win a title, but it depends how they deal with the Europa League as to whether they can really have a go at top 4. Because listen, people in the chat that Liverpool fans are going to be going nuts here. Listen, they'll always score goals. It's how vulnerable they are defensively. And last season, we see them losing stupid games to teams that you would never expect them to lose to based off the previous 4, 5, 6 years under Klopp. But McAllister could be one of the signings of the season. I can't lie. 35 mil, mate. That's an absolute bargain. And he's a top player.
He could. And look, they've spent 150 million. Well, look, they haven't got Lavia yet. The bid hasn't even been accepted, but you just kind of know they're going to end up at that 50.
They'll get
to that 50 million mark. And they'll get it done. Robin's here, regular viewer, and also been on the Terrace for a while, but he does contribute in here. Says Terry's spot on. We're not ready to challenge just yet. More needs to be done. Yeah, look, I agree. Look, I'm not. I see a few Liverpool fans in the comment section saying I'm being salty and waffling. I'm not. I'm being respectful. I'm not saying you've made bad signings. I'm not saying you're not progressing. I'm not saying you're not going to get better. I'm not saying you won't make the top 4. I'm simply stating that to win the midfield is just. If Lavia had 3 more years experience, my mind would be different. And again, we could all be shocked that you could be better than I'm expecting. Last year, I predicted Arsenal coming 3rd at this time last year and was laughed at. And then my mind changed, and then I put them into 2nd.
And then I Liverpool to win it. I predicted Chelsea to finish above Arsenal.
I did. That's Liverpool fan. You hate us. So last year, I thought Liverpool were going to go to another level after missing out on the quad, and they didn't. They fell off. And, it's interesting. The year before that, I remember Jess said on a show that she thinks Liverpool are just slowly starting to decline. She was a year out. A year later, everything she predicted kind of happened. And that's not because people are salty. It's because they see it happening at some point soon.
You have to look at the age of their squad, Terry. Like they had so many players, mostly midfielders, over the age of 30. Yeah, and then with Van Dijk having that injury that he had that kept him out, he came back. He was all right when he first came back from that injury. But last season, I think they played Fulham on the first day of the season. He was like Bambi on ice, gave away a penalty to Mitrovic and Like it was just ridiculous. Like, and he never really recovered over the course of the season. It was only really when Trent went into midfield that Liverpool started looking half decent. Yeah, but even then, it wasn't relentless win like we've seen them before.
Yeah, of course.
I think they will use Trent in midfield this season, but I still think they need Lavia. Yeah, because they ain't got the money for Caicedo. Let's just be real with it. They're not going to drop 100 million on him. Yeah, and that's pretty much what they want for him. So 50, 45, 50 mil, 40 with add-ons, whatever it may be. Yeah, if you then look at that, they've paid, 60 million pounds for Slobberslide. They've paid 35 for McAllister. Then get him in, it's about, 140, there or thereabouts. And they've rebuilt their midfield. It's now how Klopp gets them purring and how they integrate them with the defence and the attack. Because when we've seen Liverpool under him, they're relentless with their pressing. Yeah, and listen, McAllister's a top player. Lavia, we've seen him cool. He looked fantastic at times, but ultimately he couldn't do it all on his own in that midfield. And that's why they got relegated, or one of the reasons they got relegated. So now it's a mad level up to go and play for Liverpool. But you never know, man. He either sinks or swims. Like, and that I still think even if they buy Lavia, I still think they need another midfielder. Like, they've got rid of so many players in their midfield. And if Fabinho does go, like, I do think they need another one, even with Lavia. Maybe just a backup, like Douglas Luiz or someone like that for 20 odd million, like from Villa, somebody like that. Not a major signing, but somebody that can fill in for one of them if they're injured, or if you want to rotate for Europa League or whatever. But yeah, it's going to be interesting seeing what they do this season. I still think they need another defender as well.
Yeah, no, I think they need to add a defender as well. I agree. Olu here says, check what Klopp spent to win the league title. Eric Ten Hag has spent more. I just did while Lee was talking. Eric Ten Hag so far has spent 350 million euros. In
270 million quid. 280.
Yeah, Jurgen Klopp, before winning the league, 447 million. So you're wrong. I just looked.
If he'd done that comparison to Arteta before this summer, he would have been spot on.
Yeah. Maradon said, how is that a prediction? Because again, don't listen to what somebody says. The what is for basic people. The why is for smart people. And the why was, her prediction was that she felt players were aging out. Now, she was a year out in terms of the drop off that she expected. Doesn't mean she didn't see it coming. Like, you know, it is what it is. If someone says, I think Casemiro is going to drop off and he has a really good year, like because of his age, has a really good season, and then the year after he can barely run and move. It wasn't they were just predicting it to be nasty. They could see it coming. You know, it is what it is. But a lot of people dropping off.
Not only that, when you look at how relentless they've been with their pressing, like 100 mile an hour, same 11 pretty much every week. Yeah, same 14, 15, 16 players used throughout the whole season, every competition, like for years. It was inevitable that they're eventually going to run out of steam. Yeah, and then when you add in that he did it at Dortmund as well, and eventually they run out of steam, like, it was kind of semi-easy to predict, although you predicted them to win the title.
No, I did. I really did think that.
Which you could also get, and you made your good argument off of the basis of no. After missing out on the quadruple, I think they'll come back, and I get that. I thought they would go
to another level again, and it just didn't. Yeah, it didn't work.
When they missed out on the title, they come back and done it.